Great, thank you for that introduction. I am really excited to be here with you all, part of the MRI community conversations. Um, what I really appreciate about this community is how we can bring people together from diverse perspectives, diverse disciplines, and diverse backgrounds. So the title of my talk, Making Meaning Across Disciplines, is looking at how we can really understand these ways of thinking about multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary processes to look at different ways of working and leverage the time and knowledge that we bring so that we're not just coming together, but really leveraging and building knowledge and learning from each other. So my background in engineering education, research, teaching and learning, and human-centered design really focuses on interdisciplinary collaboration, where diverse individuals are coming together to tackle these complex problems at the interface between social, technical, and cultural challenges. And in interdisciplinary collaboration, the focus is on engaging with multiple perspectives to integrate insight and build a shared understanding of a complex situation. So when we first start off in an interdisciplinary collaboration, one of the things I like to start off with is acknowledging where we come from. And where we come from includes our relationship to the spaces we're in, the places we're in, and our backgrounds and experiences that we're bringing to this interaction. So I'm calling in from the School of Engineering Okanagan campus, where I do my research and teach and enjoy this beautiful space on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Syilx Okanagan peoples. And this connection to this place allows me to appreciate the relationships that we have, not only with our space and place, but with the people and the actors involved. And so I study the ways of being and doing interdisciplinary work by drawing on diverse theories, frameworks, and perspectives, particularly my background in mechanical and materials engineering and engineering education. So I focus on learning sciences and educational theory to understand how people learn and how we can improve instruction to perform particular tasks and achieve our goals. I also bring perspectives in design and systems thinking to look at the patterns and interactions and relationships between technology, people, and different systems. And finally, I use qualitative methods such as focus groups, interviews, and observational techniques to look at the way that we can make meaning out of human experience. So I'd like to take a moment for you all to think about a collaborative experience that you've had. What made this experience collaborative? You could feel free to just type something in the chat. What made this experience collaborative for you? Right off the top of your head. Thank you. So I was able to see a different perspective. Yes, so absolutely. We're bringing together different perspectives and we're looking at things in different ways. So that diversity, that difference is absolutely important. My research focuses on particular disciplinary perspectives. So when individuals bring different ways of seeing and thinking and being in the world, one way we can focus on is these disciplinary perspectives. And Repko and Shostak identify a disciplinary perspective as a discipline's view of reality that includes the phenomenon, epistemology, assumptions, concepts, theories, and methods that we use to engage in our work. And so when we're thinking about multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary, these terms have specific meanings. And based on these meanings inform how we perform our work. And so you might have heard these terms before and often think that they might be interchangeable. When we unpack the meaning of these terms, we can see how this informs our work. So multidisciplinary, you can think of as a fruit basket. This example from Nisani in 1995, to think about the varying degrees of integration between the disciplines. So if each discipline represents a fruit, in a fruit basket as a multidisciplinary example, each discipline is clearly identified. There's a separation, but together the disciplines or the fruits come together and make a fruit basket. If we move along this continuum in interdisciplinarity, you can now think of a fruit salad, where these fruits are blended together, still making a new product, the fruit salad, but they're not quite so distinguishable. And together as a whole, the new product is completely different. There's an integration of the elements. Finally, moving across to transdisciplinarity, we have a fruit smoothie where all of the disciplines, all of the fruits are completely blended together and they transcend each individual part. Multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary can also be thought of as varying degrees of system scales, where we have the design of a new bicycle. And this new bicycle may be embedded within the design of a new city bicycle sharing program. So we've moved up a level of abstraction to a different system level. And finally, to the design of a new sustainable city altogether, as an example of a transdisciplinary problem that we're working on. So in these collaborative interactions, we're building and we're working with knowledge. Goldman identifies 5 different ways that collaborators are working with knowledge, sharing and exchanging information. They're building a shared understanding, they're developing common ground, and they're achieving an awareness, developing group mental models. These are different ways we build knowledge. And so it's important to understand how this knowledge is used and continually developed so that we can operate more effectively in our collaborative settings. So my work involves collaborative methods such as observations, focus groups, and interviews to really get at some of the big questions. How does this intercollaboration work? How can we use different tools to do collaborative work? And how can we support interdisciplinary learning through educational design, curriculum development, instruction, and professional development? So I'd like to move to talk about 3 different ways that I see interdisciplinary collaboration and a relationship with the work of the Materials and Manufacturing Research Institute when we can think about workforce development, collaborative practice and learning, and human-centered design. In workforce development, we're constantly working to support and empower others to build knowledge through their research, and we're engaged in knowledge generation and translation activities for innovation. So when we think about training highly qualified personnel, it's one thing to go through an educational journey in a multidisciplinary way, identifying different pieces. But it's something completely different to go through an educational journey and be able to integrate and form connections and synthesize that knowledge to create a new whole and create that insight. In terms of workforce development, when we're thinking about curriculum, pedagogy, and instruction for engagement, for leadership, and for innovation, how do we support that process from a learning and human-centered approach? So this quote from MyTax in the Future Skills for Highly Qualified Personnel report identifies that if candidates to remain competitive, productive, and prosperous, it will absolutely rely on the innovative potential of its highly qualified personnel. Thinking about interdisciplinary practice as a second future collaborative opportunity, there's a very large research space around team science and what's called convergence research. And these both reports come from the National Research Council, and they both are particularly interested in the ways that we perform this work. So it's one thing to perform the work to solve a particular problem. It's another thing to investigate and research the very way that we do that work. And so the science of team science is another field where there's a lot of research going on in this space. Finally, human-centered design. The technology that we're making does not exist neutrally in the world. It's political, there are relationships and people involved. And so when we think about the design of our products and our systems, beyond users and stakeholders, the immediate users and stakeholders, we can think about the humans, the way that humans interact with all of these things, all of the system components together to create an experience and to create that innovation. So I aim to deeply understand the ways that humans interact with technology, to look at that human experience and bridge social, cognitive, cultural, and technical factors in our designs that place humans at the center. So if you're interested in exploring how humans make meaning and engage in interdisciplinary work, I'd love to chat with you more. As I close today, I'd leave you with these reflexive questions. How might your research have implications for workforce development? How do you engage in interdisciplinary collaboration? And where do humans show up in your work and research and your teaching? And how might you adopt a human-centered approach? Thanks so much for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.